But she showed up and I was like, okay, this threw everything I had out the window.
I am Gia, and my business is called Gia Rose Digital, and I offer content design and capacity support for social media managers and virtual assistants.
Awesome. I've been following Gia on Threads, and so me and her, I feel like, are besties now because we have been talking so much. I saw that she talked about capacity, and I was like, "Ooh, that'd be great, especially for mamas and service providers because there's a lot of times we're doing things without our knowing our true capacity." And so Gia's all about that. So I can't wait for her to share how she helps service providers, especially VAs and social media managers. So when we talk about capacity, especially for moms in business, what does that word like mean to you?
To me, it's mostly like how much time you have to do a certain thing. But sometimes it can also be like a mental or even emotional capacity. But when I'm talking about it, it's often like your workload
Okay.
and how much that
You
you can handle.
yeah, that makes sense. 'Cause I think sometimes we will take on too much and wonder why we're burnt out. And it was like you don't even have capacity for all the people you're trying to take at one time. So,
Hmm.
you work with a lot of social media managers and VAs all the time. What do you see the most when it comes to someone's capacity being maxed out?
So the main thing, and I think the first thing for a lot of people to go first, even aside from social media managers and VAs, is your content, your marketing for your business is like the first thing to go out the window, falls to the bottom of the list. I'll do it tomorrow, turns into next week, turns into next month. And before you know it, you're like, oh, I haven't like posted or sent out an email or whatever it is in like a couple months. So
No,
it's
I
really easy to have that be the first thing to slide.
yeah, definitely. I remember when I was a VA, I was like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm tired. I
Yeah.
can't even put a post together.
I was gonna say you spend all day doing that for other people, and by the time you have time at the end of the day for yourself, either you're tired or like your creativity is just not there. And so in those instances too, it's like I don't want to force myself to do this. It's not gonna be like the quality I want if I'm forcing myself. And so that's another reason why it gets pushed off too, is like that spark just isn't there. And it's like, if it's not going to be good, why do I want to do it? So that's like that's a whole nother conversation that like plays into it.
Right, especially the mental bandwidth, like you said. It's almost like you forget your own business. You're like, "Who I do? What do I do? Who is it
Hmm.
for? And how can I serve you?" Because I remember when I was juggling a lot of clients as a VA, it was like my brain was gone, like non-existent. It felt like it left the chat. I was like, "All right,
Hmm.
come back again."
And, and not to mention, like a lot of times you're so close to your own business, it's kind of harder, anyways, for us to um, figure out things and figure out the way we want to market or like even the right words to say when it comes to ourselves. Like we can do that all day long for someone else, but like the proximity too can be difficult.
Yeah, for sure. So you help people with content and creative support. How do you see your clients benefit from you helping them in that way?
Well, I got one really kind review that is sticking out to me. Um, and the specific client of mine said that she was able, not only was she able to like take on more clients because of the support I was giving, but that her business wouldn't even be at the place that it is right now without my support. And that was like, wow, that's me. That
Right.
was an incredible feeling to know that like that what I was doing was making that big of an impact in her business and like, you know, in her life. Business is part of your life and can, it's a way of helping support yourself. So that was a pretty cool feeling. Like, okay, this is taking like what I'm doing with like creating like because this specific client is a social media manager. And so not only do I offer like help with prioritizing your content in your business first and foremost, but like I offer support for your clients through your business, kind of like a white label situation. Um, so taking over some of that client content was creating that more capacity, more time for her to be signing on new clients, meeting with potential new clients, all those other behind the scenes tasks that go into running a business like that. So that was pretty cool to know that like it's allowing her to grow and scale.
Oh, I love that. And do you love doing white labeling, like for
I
other business
do.
owners?
I do. It's so fun because it's like, you know, my one client might have like 10 different clients, and I get to kind of like put their brand on and play with their, you know, the different colors. And that's like a little perk, but it's like getting to kind of change up the style in which I'm designing, the different subjects. Like, not only do I learn a lot about a lot of like random businesses and things, like, which is kind of fun to have like just some random, you know, facts, oh, you know, this or that, but just being able to design in different styles and stuff is, it keeps it interesting for me because my brain does well with um changing things up. um I lost my train of thought, but keeping it like a varied subject is really fun for me and keeps things interesting.
Yeah, I would say I can't imagine doing what you do. The fact that you can even think like that with design and stuff, I'd be like, no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Here's some crayons and a piece of paper, go draw it. That's not my gifting. So the fact that you do that for other people, that's really cool, especially at a big scale like that. If someone comes to you and is like, I got 10 clients, I need help. Like that's amazing that you can take that on and help
thank
them with
you.
that. Yeah, because I wish I had that gift. I don't got it. I don't
Oh.
got it. Okay. What's a mistake you see business owners do when it comes to trying to delegate and get things off their task to increase their capacity?
So this one is hard because I think we all kind of do this a little bit. And that is like when you delegate, not giving it over like totally. And of course, there's like some instances where you're going to, ooh, the sun is coming right here. Where, you know, you're gonna have to still be a part of it, but still holding like on to too much of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's like you're delegating it for a reason. And if you keep too much of that pressure on yourself for that task, then it kind of defeats the purpose.
I've seen that a lot. When I was a VA, it was like, "Hey, I want you to do this for me, but wait, don't do it. Like, can I do it?" And I'm like, "What am I here for?" I'm supposed to take
Yes.
your plate. But I know it can be hard to delegate, especially because our businesses are usually close to us, and it's almost like a baby. So it's like you can't touch my baby, you can't hold my baby. Like,
Right.
you do it. So I totally
Yes.
get that.
Yeah. And oh, and the other thing was if you and ooh, that sun is crazy. I'm sorry.
You're good.
In the instance when you are able to um like delegate that completely and kind of let go of it, are you replacing it with the same or more work, or are
Mm.
you being conscious of replacing it with something that maybe takes up less of your time if your goal is to have like more capacity in the sense of more time to do other things?
I didn't even think about it like people using that to replace it. Like they have the free time. I mean, it's glowing. You could just
Oh, it's coming right up. Sorry.
no,
Here
you're
we
good.
go. That's a little bit better.
But what was I gonna say? That we will replace that time with something else, and it's like you're almost acting like you don't have the support at all, and just trying to
Mhm.
like keep yourself busy in a way instead of like doing those tasks that you know that will move your business forward. But you're like, no, let me just fill it up with like unnecessary things. So
Right. And it's like it all kind of depends on your goal too. Like if you're delegating certain things so that you have more time for maybe like a client facing um scenario, like where you're taking more calls, and you know you're not necessarily trying to free up a bunch of time, but you're trying to have more time to do those things, That makes sense. But if your goal is to actually create more time in your schedule to, you know, have the life you want to have, be present with your children, you know, it could be giving that focus to clients more, just having some time to take a nap, whatever it is.
Right.
Like if you're just replacing it with the same amount, you know, that's not gonna, you're not gonna start to see that gap of having more time.
Yeah, that's so true. When someone hires you for support or like design or VA, what system should be in place for you to be able to step in and help them? So like in a perfect scenario, like what has a client given you that's like, oh, I can run with this. I don't need nothing else from you.
I actually had a really great example of this recently this week, where someone hired me and it was actually like I guess you could call it a rush job because they were asking for a quick turnaround, which was fine
Yeah.
for the instance. But everything was so organized, and I made a point to message her once I started working. I was like, just so you know, you and your client, because she hired me for kind of like a white label thing for one of her clients. Um, I was like, you and your client both are like extremely organized, and that made things so smooth and fast for me. It was a design project, and it was just like, here's all the assets I need. Like she even had like the copy ready to go, and I was like, wow. And that's not always the case, and I don't necessarily like
Yeah.
require like, oh, you need to send me all the copy and all that. That's not necessarily something I require for, especially when we're talking about social media graphics. Like
Yeah.
that I can come up with with that if I need to, you know. Not
Yeah.
requirement, but it was, that definitely made it super smooth. And I know that that's maybe kind of like a unicorn experience in having like that much detail, because sometimes if you are looking to outsource, especially with social media content, a large part of the time that goes into that can be coming up with the words. Like if it's some
Mm,
sort of like infographic or carousel, like that can be a majority of the time is like coming up with the words to put there. So I know that that's for what I do, that's part of it, because that can take up so much of your time, and I'm trying to alleviate some of that pressure. Um,
right.
but as far as, you know, at the very least, I would say, realistically, like as long as you can tell me like the steps that need to be taken in order to complete the task, we're good to go. And that's like varying levels of like having those systems or, you know, steps in place, and it kind of all depends on the task. um just having those like refined, like the more, the thing I can say about that is if you are in a place where you have your systems like really set up before you outsource, that can add to the consistency of the content or whatever it may be that you're outsourcing across the board, whether it's you doing that task, your VA doing that task, someone like me who offers content support, um, whoever you're outsourcing to. Like the more set up and, you know, your systems are, the more consistent and easier it is to replicate the way you want it to be replicated. So that's just something to think about. But um, sometimes you're hiring somebody to get those in place and you don't have them in place, which is like what you do. So I think it changes depending on what it is you need. But as long as you have those like basic steps that we need to take, you know, that's, we can get started with that.
Right. No, I've noticed that as well. Like the more information you give me, I don't even need to like talk to you because I'm able to piece it
Hmm.
together. And so I think
Hmm.
that's one thing that people kind of forget when it comes to delegating. Like when you're hiring people in their like specialty, their expertise, it's like I can look at it and I know what needs to be done, but you have to give me enough context so I don't have to bother you as much to get it done, which adds
Hmm.
stress on your plate because you're like, you're supposed to take this off, but you're like, you got to give me the play by play because
Hmm.
as people who come into other people's businesses, we don't know your business like that yet. So you have to
Hmm.
kind of like almost show us, like put us in your seat for a minute for us to be like, oh, this is how I sit in the seat. This is how you would think about it and run with
Yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
totally.
So if you think about delegating, make sure you have your systems in place, or at least basic information for that service provider to be able to get things done for you. Because if not, it makes it just a little bit harder and you might regret trying to delegate. But delegating really frees up a lot of time and space and lets you be in your zone of genius.
Mm-hmm,
So,
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
A lot of people think they're busy means they're productive. How do you shift people from busy to like strategically full capacity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hard because so many times, I think we're all a little guilty of it maybe, we do busy work and think we're being productive, but when it comes down to it, like, is it really moving the needle towards our end goal? And so what I absolutely believe in is that your full capacity should include kind of like buffers of time. And I'm not saying like you have your lunch scheduled, like,
Yeah,
yes, make sure you're eating. Absolutely have your lunch scheduled or whatever you need to do to sustain yourself. But what I'm talking about is just like spaces in your calendar, either every day, every week, whatever. There needs to be some sort of empty space, because time after time, I have come to realize, sometimes the hard way, that things take longer than you think they will.
yes,
And something is always popping up. And especially as a parent of, of three children, things are always popping up. And I know that there's plenty of situations for people who are not parents that like nobody's immune to things coming up, things taking a different direction, and you kind of have to put a pause to what you're doing. So I think that accounting for some of that blank space in your calendar every week, every day, whatever, at least every week, you're gonna need that, because that allows you um, to work with it and not like the littlest thing comes up and then you're over capacity. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's definitely something to account for with a full capacity. It might look like, oh, I can fit another client in here or there, but would it put you like way over the limit if
yeah.
something were to come up? So just taking that into account, I think, is really important.
Right. I just had this happen to me yesterday. I was doing an email sequence and I was like, I can get this done in this hour. It did not take no hour because my kids were wanting stuff for me and I had to move around all the time. I was like, bro, this took too much of my day. Like I had other things to do.
Yes.
So I definitely had to add white space in my day and be like, I can only take like a couple tasks a day. Cause I used to be like, I'm gonna do everything in one day. And my kids humbled me really quickly and was like, that's crazy. Never again. And so
They
we
have
ended
a
up getting
way, they have a way of humbling us.
and I'm just like,
Absolutely.
I just be like, I didn't need that right now though, because I wanted to finish it all. But you really have to like space yourself out. It's almost like taking a jog instead of doing like a full blown sprint, especially as a parent. Because I also
Mhm.
have two kids, and this transition of three, I have been like, ain't no way, I ain't got time. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't got time. I can barely get a text back the way the days are now.
Yeah,
And
and allowing for, like you said, that white space, it that like plays into maintaining just a healthy rhythm and flow. Like it prevents you from becoming burnt out, because that's like ultimately we want to avoid that because we
right,
want to, like, yeah, everybody wants to grow their business, but like if it's killing you,
right,
it has to be something that can work with your life, that you can sustain. And if you are wanting to grow and scale and whatever your goals are, making sure that it's just balanced, really.
yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of what I do because I want you to grow a business, especially mamas. I want us to have all the
Mhm.
support we need with like how nuanced motherhood is, but I don't want it to kill you or take you away from your kids. Like I would rather be like your system can hold all of that. You just do what you do. Like
Yeah,
that's really because you don't want to burn out. Because if you're trying to do this forever, you're going to be done in like the first, I guess the first
right.
quarter and be like, I'm not doing this again.
Right.
So
You're not gonna make it far. It's like the slow and steady wins the race, you know?
right, right. But I think my husband tells me that a lot, and I'm like, okay, I hear you, but I want to go fast, and he's like, that doesn't work, and I'm like, yeah,
Now
you're
I
right,
have to remind myself of that a lot too.
right. I'm like, you still want to do this later? Like, yeah, I still want to do it. How do you help someone decide what's worth delegating and what's for them to keep to themselves?
So I would say, well, first of all, it's unique to every person, of course, but definitely like client facing things you want to keep, you know.
Right.
Um, and I mean like face to face, you know, email is something that can usually be delegated. But
Yeah.
as far as like those important client facing situations, you want to keep that. But I also think that anything that absolutely needs your um, specific personal touch, experience, and I don't necessarily mean experience as in like how long you've been doing a certain thing, because we can find other people that, you know, have the same level of experience, but like lived experience in order to make the service that you offer unique. So if something like that you need to keep, right? Um, of course, if you promised that you would be the one to do it, you know, try to keep our promises. And if it's your zone of genius, you know, and you enjoy it, like keep that.
Yeah.
But if it's outside of your zone of genius, if it's something you dread doing, that is absolutely something that can be delegated. Stuff that doesn't need to necessarily be you, a lot of times, is like creating content. You know, even if you're filming and sending that off to be edited by someone else, those small parts of what you do, even if you need to do part of it, whatever parts don't have to be done by you, those are the things to delegate. And a lot of like behind the scenes things that like no one sees, like systems or email marketing or, you know, correspondence back and forth, a lot of those behind the scenes things can easily be outsourced to begin with. I think those are like easy things to outsource first.
No, for sure. Especially when you're handing something off to somebody, try to document it as much as possible. It don't have to be perfect, but it's like this is the steps I would take. And usually somebody who creates SOPs like me, like we'd be like, oh, so it goes like this. Like it doesn't take long for us to piece it together. But if
Mm,
you're worried, like I don't know what to give off, is like, what's the dumb thing that you're like, why do I have to do this again?
yeah.
That's the thing you would take off. Email, like you said, and systems. That's like one of those things you can be like, okay, that's an email. Like nobody's losing sleep over an email.
Anything that doesn't have to be you that you dread doing, that
Right.
like even research, it's like
Right.
I don't know, just like making appointments. When you think about all the things you do for your business, there's so much, and when you really start thinking about it, it's like there's a lot that can be I don't have to do, which
Right.
it can be nice.
Right.
Look into, you know, maybe do some outsourcing myself.
I definitely want to outsource stuff in my home and stuff. I'm like, I need somebody to cook this stuff
Mm-hmm.
and I need somebody to clean this house or at least help me keep up with it. Cause I'm just like, ain't no way. Ain't no
I know.
way.
Yep.
I would take that out. I don't really mind the laundry because I kind of got a hold of that a little bit, but still, it's just like, y'all can
Yeah.
have that. Take my money. Y'all can have that all day. My husband's like, why do you want to do that? I'm like, it's not lazy. It's called freeing up my space. Okay, you want me to be happier? Get
Oh
somebody
no,
to clean this house.
it's definitely a goal of mine to have like someone come in a couple times a month, maybe even once a month, and help
Right,
like with some like maybe deep cleaning or
cleaning.
something. It's like
Yeah,
just a little bit of help.
right. Deep cleaning for sure. Because I'm like, I can go relax while you're doing that. Yes, please. Thank you. One piece of advice that you would give that helps somebody protect their capacity before hiring help.
So I have a couple things for that. The first is like it's okay to not take on every single client all at once. And that's something that I struggled with that did lead to burnout in the past.
Yeah,
Is I didn't want to keep people waiting, but you know, people have wait lists for a reason. Like
yeah,
you fill up your slots, that's totally normal. People like typically know that going into hiring someone for any type of service, just like you know, you would book an appointment to go to the doctor or to get your hair done or whatever it is. Like, you know, there's only so many spaces in the calendar. And so just to not be afraid to start booking out and just being really honest about what you can do, because that's going to, of course, protect your capacity, but it honors both you and your client, because you're preventing yourself from burning out, and you're also like honoring their time and money and their project by you'll be able to give it the attention it needs. It's not going to be rushed and stressed, because we don't want that when we're working on, you know, we want to give our best. And the other piece of advice, I know you said one piece of advice,
Yeah,
but
give all of it. Give all of it.
the sooner you can get your systems in place too, the better. And it doesn't need to be anything complicated,
Right.
especially to begin with, but it can create smooth sailing as you grow. Like if it's set up or you have some sort of idea. And again, like systems, like it sounds complicated, but can be as simple as, you know, okay, I create brand templates on
Right.
Canva and I use those, and I use this for this type of post and this for that. You know, that's a system. Another system, of course, you're the system girl. but you know, there's systems for everything, right? So,
Yeah.
but just having those ahead of time so that either for you yourself, your business, or when you're able to hand off a task, it runs smoothly for whoever you hand it off to, and it's just
Yeah.
a seamless experience. And just any little thing helps add to the time you're saving.
Right. No, systems really is just, it sounds like a crazy word or like, okay, girl, whatever. But it's really just the way you do something. Because if you
Mhm.
think about everything, life is systemized.
Right.
Your morning routine could be a system, like the way you wake up, how you do this, you writing in a planner. You'd be like, oh, I will go grocery shopping. Like there's a certain way that you do it if you really think about it. It's just taking that way and making it into something that you can repeat over and over. So it's become almost like a second nature to you. Because I know for me, the biggest thing that I do with my clients, the first thing we do is I tell you to brain dump everything you got. Everything on
Mhm.
your brain, I need it out of your brain.
Yes.
Because once I see it out of your brain, I'm like, oh, did you know you could like group this together? And then we could populate a template for you. So every time that task comes up, it's like, hey, this is what you need to do step by step. So you're not really relying on your brain no more in that way. Because I know, especially for us mamas, our brains are not there because as soon as we start a task, somebody's asking for a snack. And so you keep getting interrupted. It's like your train of thought is gone. So the template is there to kind of bring you back and be like, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Remember? And you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like back to one of my experiences this week was that same client this week who like was asking for if I was able to do something within like a short period of time for
Yeah.
a quick turnaround. I had already set up, you know, I still had to do certain things when it came to
Yeah.
like getting that project started, but
Mm-hmm.
I was able to like send off like the contract invoice and then like a questionnaire. I already had the questionnaire set up a long time ago for the
Right.
particular service that it was. So even
Yeah.
something like that, just ahead of time, like, hey, what questions am I asking over and over? Let me put it into a form.
Right.
And that way, like, it was super easy for her, and it was just like it took me a couple minutes to, you
Yeah.
know, put the unique information in and send it off, and I can get back to getting the snacks for the kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
So um that was nice, because it's like if you're doing that every time, oh my goodness, it's like that would have taken me probably an hour to just think again, what are all the questions that I need to
Right.
ask, you know? And if you're doing that every time. So yeah, just another real example of how doing that saved me time this week anyways.
No, really, I'm proud of you because that manual labor literally adds up. I think I was just talking to a mom and she was talking about it takes her like an hour to onboard a client, where her kid only naps like 2 to 3 hours. She only has like 2 to 3 hours to work in her business. And so it's like those things that you do all the time really needs to be like done in minutes because an hour is a long time for a nap time. My kids don't really nap no more. I got one that naps. So I'm like, an hour is golden. Y'all know
Yeah.
that is golden time that you need back. And that's if you're spending that much time trying to bring a new client on, it's like you could use that time actually working on that so you can go back to spend time with your babies, taking care of yourself, doing your hobbies. Because I know sometimes we're like, I don't have a hobby. It's because we're doing too many things manually. You don't
Exactly.
even have time.
Oh, yes.
So that's good. Good for you for having the questionnaire. So you're like, yeah, I can get this done tomorrow if you can give me what I need. Yeah,
Exactly. And yep.
yeah. That's how it goes, y'all. That's how you also get people to come back to you too. They're like, all she needed from me was this and she got it done. Like, yeah, that's what I did, girl. Yeah. Um, so you talk a lot about your own experience of juggling client work and your business. Being a mom shaped you and helped you with like capacity and how you talk about it.
Yeah. So going back to that white space in your calendar, I feel like I'm going to be going back to that a lot.
Right.
I have realized as a mother how important that is, because something is always coming up. And I like to refer to them in my situation as the hot chocolate incidents, because you're working and my kids spilled hot chocolate all over the place or something, and that's going to take priority. Since that was just like one of them, there's many hot chocolate incidents around here, but you need space for that. And
Yeah.
so not having that packed schedule, because things come up all the time with kids, or maybe you have to go to an appointment you weren't anticipating going to,
Right.
whatever it may be. There's all kinds of things that can come up. So, having that white space helps with that, because you're kind of able to shift things around if you need to last minute.
Yeah.
And it's just so important in making sure that your business fits around your life and not the other way around, because
Yeah.
your life is always changing, especially like with kids as they grow. You're doing different things. And just paying attention to like what our patterns are, because whether it's intentional or not, a lot of times like we do kind of end up having like a rhythm of how our days go. So just kind of paying attention to that and like making sure that I'm fitting my business into those rhythms, so it all kind of work together.
Yeah. I talk a lot about that I think on YouTube and in my blog. It's like when people are like, how do I work from home? Honestly, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I'm never going to sell you on a fake fairy tale Pinterest story. But
Yeah.
I will tell you, like, there are natural rhythms that your kids have that if you pay attention to that, it will make it a little bit easier to do that work. So what I noticed with my own kids, I'll share. When it's mealtime, nap time, I should not be trying to do anything. Like if they're trying to take a nap, I shouldn't try to do anything in that time because they fully need me to be present in that moment to take the nap. If they're wanting breakfast, lunch, or a snack, snacks are kind of different because they want snacks like even if you feed them. So I guess that's different. But like, like
Understandable.
right. So like breakfast and lunch, I'm like they need my full attention for that too. Like there's just certain parts of the day they're like, I'm not messing with you. Do whatever you want to do. And it's like that's the time that you would try to work. But doing something where they want your attention, like that's gonna cause a headache. And the way to like maximize that little bit of time that you have is to reduce that with some systems. The manual stuff you do all the time, that needs to be like almost as automated as possible. So you're not like wasting that time doing that, like trying to set it up instead of you actually doing it. So, so that's good. Yeah, the little pockets of time. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to maximize that.
you
Yeah,
do, absolutely. And what you were saying about like knowing when they really need you,
right,
this was like last year, and we do homeschool. I sit with my son while we do it, and a lot of it he can kind of like do on his own, but I'm just there to make sure things are moving, and if he needs
right,
help, I'm there for help. At the beginning, I want to say foolish, but I shouldn't say that. I was naive, maybe, in thinking that I would be able to sit there and like do my engagement for my business while
right.
he kind of, you know,
Yeah,
able to do it by himself for a little bit. Not that I was not paying attention to him. But,
Yeah.
and I came to realize even while he's occupied and in his like lesson that he can do by himself, that was just not a good idea. Now it's one of those moments where I'm like, I need to sit there and not look at my phone, not do anything. Even if he's got it by himself, it just works out better if I am fully there, which anybody listening is probably like, well, duh, it's his school.
Right.
I thought I could kind of maximize the time where he's doing it on his own and doesn't need me. It's just, that was silly of me to think.
Honestly, a lot of times moms were really good at multitasking because we can have dinner going and be doing a lot of things at the same time. So when it comes to our business, you're like, you know what? While they're coloring or doing something, they don't need me all the way, so I can knock something out.
Right.
It's like
that's what I mean. It's like he didn't need me all the way.
Right.
He was good. But yeah, it is really easy to. It's hard because it's like on one hand, you need to maximize those little bits of time.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have to know which little bits of time to maximize and not.
No, bro, that might have to be a content piece. Like every little bit of time is probably not for your
Honestly.
business. It's probably for you to get a snack, take a break, drink some water, go to the bathroom. You probably didn't hold
It's
your
hard
pee.
too. I hear this from my clients, like, they just love their business so much, which I relate. Like, I do love working on it, and working in it. And it can be hard to turn that off because it's like you can find something to do always. And so it is important to know when to turn that off though, because just like you said, like you're not going to last very long if you are going 100.
Right.
And it's hard because sometimes it's fun and but it's like, no, we need rest and relaxation and even recreation. Like it's there for a reason.
Right.
It all has its place. So time for everything.
No, right. My husband, I think early on in my business was like, I was trying to work at night and he's like, you can't do that. And I was like, why are you stopping me? Like he was stopping my hustle. He's like, if you're here with the kids all day, you have to sleep at some point. And I was like, you're actually right. Like I do need sleep. Like I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that. But I was so focused on I loved my business. I love what I was doing, trying to get things going and popping and stuff. But at the same time, it's like if you're not getting sleep, how are you supposed to be working on client stuff, marketing your business, doing all those like tasks that we always have to keep up with? So like I think I know a lot of moms work at night, which if that is your pocket of time and you have that, like go for it. But I know for sometimes it's not feasible if you are solo parenting majority of the time. And you're like, I know for me, I was like, I'd rather like fight through the day so I can sleep at night. And but it really just depends on what your life is. Because I know everybody has different lives. You might have like extra support at home, or like your husband might not work long hours like some of ours do. And so it's really like, what does your life look like, and how can you work it within that? Instead of looking at somebody's life, they're like, I have childcare every day. If you don't have childcare every day, it's okay. A lot of us don't.
I
don't
know.
believe, right?
I am the childcare.
Right. And so I think I saw a thread like that, and I was like, people are like, well, it's unrealistic that people are like running their business and staying at home. It's not really unrealistic because there's a lot of moms doing it. Now, are we tired, overwhelmed? Some of the balls that we carry drop? Yeah. But even if we had childcare, it would still happen because a kid is going to get sick, school's going to be out, snow is going to be on the ground, something's going to happen where your childcare is not consistent. And so I think as a parent, one thing I was like, childcare is not consistent. Like everybody's like, just get a babysitter. I was like, so what if I don't have money to get a babysitter right now? Like, what if I had to like go get the car fixed or something? Like, or maybe the babysitter is sick. So it's like, how can you use what you have? Maybe if you don't have support, and that's why I'm huge on systems being your support because some of us don't have a lot of it.
Like that's so true, absolutely. And like each additional person in your family,
right,
it's opportunity for more variables. So we just and that's not a bad thing. It's something to be thankful for, of course, but it's something to like be conscious of. Like if you know that, like, look, realistically, there's 5 of us.
Right.
Something's gonna come up. And that like goes back into like creating that business that works around your life so that when those things come up, One person's variable one day, the other person's the next. Like, you're able
Right.
to deal with it.
No, for real. It's just a reality. And then
Mm-hmm.
like it's okay that you got kids. That's a reality. We don't have to
Yeah.
fake it
Yeah.
like
It's okay. There's a way to do it. You just gotta kind of, sometimes it takes a little while to figure out.
yeah.
Yeah, it can be done, and it might be done. This is a whole nother conversation for another day, the comparison
Right.
thing, because it's like, yeah, your pace is not going to be the same as someone else's pace, and
Right.
that's okay. You guys don't have the same two situations. Nobody
Right.
does. Nobody,
Yeah.
no two people. So we
Right.
all have our, with children or without children, we all have
Right.
our um, things that we deal with and responsibilities and things that we have to account for. So,
Right.
yeah.
No, I like to think that like me having kids or my inconsistent schedule is like a superpower. I'm trying to like think of that like it's a superpower because it's like I can actually get stuff done in 2 minutes. You want me to show you? Because I can, I can do it. And so I know this year for me, I stopped like not saying my kids. I use my kids as an excuse, but I used to think like that would stop me. And I was like, no,
Mhm.
you can still do stuff. You just either got to be okay with your kids popping up in the camera somewhere,
Mhm.
or like with them being beside you or whatnot, or changing your business to do it a little almost like a funner way. Because
Mhm.
some of these like rigid business structures is like, yeah, we could be calls one day all day, or maybe we could just voice note each other. You can still get support if I voice note you, my kids screaming in the background.
Yep.
Because like so you just gotta find like fun ways to do your business and that's easy for you to do with your kids besides you and make it a superpower. Because your kids are probably the reason why you're doing it, if we think about it.
Oh, absolutely. I know
Yeah.
for me there, I think probably every other person on the planet who is a parent could probably
Right.
say the same thing. Yeah, absolutely. So it just makes us better.
Because we got skills, y'all. Because if we went back to the workforce, we can say that we manage basically a whole business. Your house is a business if we think
Yeah,
about it.
it's
So we're
true.
like managing two at the same time. So we got to give ourselves more grace. Is there a story where you pushed past capacity and learned a lesson from it?
Yes. About 3 or 4 times last year to be exact, because each time it happened, I said to myself and to my husband, I will not be doing this again. And it took me like 3 times to learn that lesson, but I learned it eventually. Yeah, I got burnt out. I was taking on too much. It looked okay on paper, but I
Yeah.
hadn't taken the time. And I think everybody should do this. If you offer services or whatever it is you do, I really encourage you to sit down and get really honest. If you have to time yourself, time yourself. But just get really honest about how long each type of service is taking you. And of course,
Yeah.
I understand each client is going to like fluctuate that time a little bit, but if you have like
Right.
an average about roundabout time of it's going to take about this long, that's
Yeah.
good. I had to get really honest with how long things were or were not taking. Um, and because like I said, on paper, sure, it looked fine, but
Yeah.
certain things take longer than you think.
Every
And
time.
so, yeah, and so I was taking on too much. I also like didn't want to disappoint anybody, and I was also like truthfully trying to help my family during a time when we, you know, needed the help. So, it looked like it was going to be okay, and it just ended up being too much, and I was like, man, I cannot. And so I had to figure it out, and I did that by figuring out how long each service takes me. Now I know, excuse me, like I can take this many clients every week and do
Yeah.
not go past that, because if you go past that, it's not going to feel good. I just kind of got it down to like, I can, doesn't really necessarily matter what the service is, but this is how long I have each week. And so I can fit, this amount of things into that time. So yeah, I wanted to quit. I was like, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
Like, should I just like tear this all down? But I knew that that wasn't the answer. So I
Yeah.
figured it out. I'm happy to say that since like, I don't know when the last time that happened was, but it was last year.
Yeah.
It's not happened again. So I'm proud of that.
Right.
But yeah, it was like I was burnt out and stressed, and you know, things in other areas of my life were not getting the attention that I wanted them to get. And, you know, things start to pile up, laundry starts to, just stuff like that. Yeah. So it wasn't great, but came out the other side.
No, that literally happened to me, I think, at the beginning of 2025 before I had took a break actually in 2024. I was like,
Mhm.
absolutely not. I was like, I love this stuff, but why is it draining
Mhm.
me like this?
Mhm.
And so I think when I came back and me coming back this year, I was like, I had to do this completely different. And so like that's a huge reason why I do VIP days, because I'm like, I can knock this out in a day. Like I'm so good at what I do. I really don't need all that time to do
Mhm.
things anymore, because I notice for me, I'm more of a project based person. I kind of don't like just sitting around.
Uh-huh.
Like I know when I was a VA, it was a lot of like, I'm waiting for you to give me feedback. And so that's hindering what I could do. And I
Uh-huh.
can get it done right now. But because I
Right.
have to wait on your feedback and you also have your own life, which I'm glad
Mhm.
you do. I have my own life too. But it made a lot of like my clients' projects happen on the same day. It's like everybody needed me on the same day all the time because there
Yeah.
was so much like waiting for feedback or waiting for like, hey, are you sure you want to do
Mhm.
this like this? And then having to go around and fix things. And so like I'm just like a VIP day, I can tell you how many I have for the month. We can get it done. You have support after, boom. For me,
Yep.
that just works because it's like
Absolutely.
it's just me and these kids. I can knock it out in a day.
Yeah. And I feel the same way. And that's why I offer them too.
Yeah.
Because
Because
it's
it takes
like
it
I can
away.
just give you a full day and, you know, support after and
Right.
knocking stuff out in a day. It's like a very efficient way to do things if your life allows it, if your business
Right.
allows it,
Right.
if you even want to
Especially
do it. But yeah, it's
right.
for us, it works out.
Right. Because you can really systemize a lot of it. Because you're probably
Hmm.
doing the same thing. So there's a lot of stuff you can just be like, yeah, it follows the same structure. Because all I
Hmm.
need is a form from you and I ask some questions and then we good to go. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, especially moms, I think I did market research and I was like, there's no way. Ain't no mom would have done what you offer. Were they trying to build this as a wish? They're like, girl, if you don't take this off my plate so I can go sleep somewhere.
No, exactly. I'm over that.
You're like, please do
I'm
it.
like,
Don't teach
and I'm like,
me.
if I'm gonna like, you know, yeah, I'm at a point, you know, I um invested a lot in like learning and all kinds of stuff like that and um DIY, you know, I
Yeah.
learned to DIY it and that's fine. And I think that absolutely like served its purpose and has its place. But at this point where I'm at right now, I'm like,
Right.
if I'm gonna invest in it, just do it for me.
Right. Please. Like
You
I'll
know,
pay the
and
money.
if I need to wait a little bit to make that happen, so be it. But I
Right.
don't want to like add more. I don't want to add more
Yeah.
to it right now because it's too busy already with just life. So
Right. Yeah, it's exhausting. I was like, I used to be like, well, if I know how to do everything, then like that's good for me. So just in case I can fall back on myself. But I'm like, if someone tells me you can DIY, I'm like, if I'm waiting to do like a huge done for you service, I'm like, do you have a template or something basic I can like hold on for right now until I
mhm,
do that? But other than that, no, I'm not doing it myself.
mhm,
I'm not. I'm
mhm.
tired. I think I've got my way here doing it by myself. Yeah, absolutely not. Marketing is one of those things. One day I want somebody to do that for me. It might just be you because I'm tired. You know, I'm just like I'm like, yeah, please, please, do
And
everything you
likewise,
need.
because you know we've already talked about that. Because I'm like,
Right. I
help
keep
me
telling
get
my
it
husband,
organized.
no, for real. I keep telling my husband like marketing, that would be the thing I would take off my plate. Like you say you just need a picture, need something for me. I record the video, you do it,
Yep,
I'm going to sleep. I'm just because that'd be the first thing to go. That'd
yep.
be the first thing to go.
And
I promise
often
you.
it is, like often because it does truly take so much time. Even, and I was thinking about this the other day. I may have even posted about it, I'm not sure. But even even if you're not currently like even if you're in a place where you are putting it off and you're not doing it because you have too much client work
Yeah.
to do, you know, and you can't prioritize it. It's like, well, how is that saving me time having someone else do it? It's like, well, it gives you the confidence that your business is still visible,
Yeah.
getting seen, bringing you those clients. So it's hard because it's like if you're not doing it, you're not spending time on it. However, outsourcing it still, like, obviously will keep things running for you,
Yeah.
bringing clients in the back, while you know, keep focusing on your client work or whatever you need to focus on, whatever you choose to, you know, spend your time on. So
Right.
it's still part of it's still all part of the system.
I feel like the word system, I've even reading listen back to myself. I'm like, all I say is that word. I said I know people are gonna get annoyed with me with saying system. Because then you see on threads, everybody's like, everybody keeps saying system. I'm like, that's the word for it. I hope y'all know that. That is
That
the
is
word.
the word. Word
There's
for
no other way to say it.
it. I mean,
But
that's no, because people are gonna associate you with system.
right. And that's what I keep getting. They're like, I know. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. That's why I keep saying. I think my mom is, even says that to me. She says it in a mocking way, but I'm like, I must be doing it right if you're talking back to me
Yep.
with my own words. So,
That's right.
right, that's
That's
funny.
funny.
But no, I love my mom. She great. All
Oh,
my whole family is like, you just like systems, and that's why your life crazy because you ain't got it. So they be annoyed with me. They be annoyed, but oh
you're like,
well.
if you would just try it, if you would just try having a system, you'd see.
You see, right. I feel like my sister is looking at me like, wow, you really organized it. Yeah, because I would be crazy without it. Just every time it's like when you have a family one day, you're gonna be wanting to do the same thing.
hmm
It's too much. Which goes into the next question. As moms, our seasons constantly change. How have you adapted your capacity management through motherhood?
Okay, so kind of going back to like that rhythm, knowing
Yeah,
that helps. I have a really hard time with like having an idea or wanting to do something and being like, I need to make this happen
right.
soon. And that's great and all, but it's just for me, it's not realistic for me. So you know, I have a list of like business projects that I want to do, and I know that like realistically maybe now's not the time, but like I can like slowly work towards that, and then
Yeah,
later when I can give it time, I can, because there are different seasons like in motherhood where you have more time than
yeah,
other time. And what I was thinking too was like it seems like each season of motherhood, like it changes frequently, but it kind of like it's like a real season. Like it's a little while. You kind of
yeah,
get comfy in that like
yeah,
routine,
yeah,
and then it changes and you kind of settle into the next. And um like for example, I'm gonna be this year figuring it out again because my middle child is going to be starting school, and we do homeschool, and so like
yeah,
that's I'm going to have to figure that out because I'm going to have two of them that are going to need, you know, at least
yeah,
she'll need my help, and my oldest will need me to at least be there like I have been to make
yeah,
sure things are going smooth. So like I'm going to have to figure that out again and settle into it and find the rhythm and adjust things. And so I've gotten like really familiar with having like, here's the plan, the rough plan, and kind of
hmm,
refining it as I go, which it's nice because like things do kind of stay the way they are
yeah,
for a little while at a time. So you are able to kind of like make those refinements. And so that helps because you can improve as you go along.
yeah,
And I've just learned to like be okay with that, you know, like it's always changing, and like it'll be the same for about 6 months, and then I'm gonna have to figure it out, and then I'll maybe take about another month to settle in again, and you know, that's
yeah,
just how it goes. I feel like especially with like little kids, like
yeah,
it's pretty quickly.
yeah,
um and then also like I've said this a few times, like I had to get really honest
yeah,
with how many hours realistically like I can work with my other responsibilities as a mother and like wife and other
yeah,
things that I prioritize in my life too. So I just had to be honest about that number and just make sure to not go above it. And as long as I don't
right,
go above that number, or you know, if I go above it, just make sure it's not much,
right,
is relatively smooth. So kind of figuring that out, because I feel like too that helps. I feel like knowing my like capacity limit in terms of how many hours I can give to work each week. I feel like that has stayed consistently the same longer than like some seasons of motherhood, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Like things, the kids are changing more frequently, but that like number of hours that I can give to my clients, and even to like my own business, because I kind of keep them separate. Like I
Yeah.
make sure that, hey, I have this many hours each week for client work, and then this many hours for working on me. And
Yeah.
sometimes those hours get eaten up by other things, but the ones for me, but I try to
Yeah.
keep them. And so those have stayed more consistent than the seasons of motherhood. And that has been really helpful, just to know like, hey, this is my number. And when not that I'm not tracking every single thing.
Yeah.
I'm not timing every single thing that I do. Um, you know, you kind of have an idea, rough
Right.
estimate of how long things take and when you're getting close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
I
good.
hope that made sense.
Oh, it did. One thing I would recommend to anyone watching is definitely track your time. I think I used to say I didn't have like I couldn't do time for YouTube or whatnot, but now that I've started to track my time enough with me like recording the videos and editing, I can actually like, okay, this actually takes this amount of time. And so like when you at least get into the habit of doing it, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can start gauging like, oh, it usually takes this much amount of time. So when
Mhm.
you're planning your week out, you're like, oh, I might not have time for this or that or whatever. So you have more of an idea, like you were saying. Because I think sometimes as moms, we be going in it like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like we have to pay attention to where our
Yeah,
time is going. And I know it
absolutely.
sometimes it's like, well, how can I plan with my schedule changing and everything being unpredictable? And I was like, it's the white space that we keep
Mhm.
bringing up.
Mhm.
Honestly, you should probably do a whole series on white space at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah. But it's that white space that you have to have. And we kind of, as moms, we have to like take the reins back and be like, we're going to follow a schedule. It is loose, but it's just
Mhm.
a general, this is what needs to happen. It's not like
Mhm.
down to the T. It's just like, hey,
Right.
this one needs to be happening and you can move it in your day. That's what the white space is for. Because if it can't happen at 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe it can happen at 2. You just
Mhm.
flip. Maybe you might just flip the task because you're like, hey, it's easier right now. The kids, for some reason, are not messing with me. Maybe I can go ahead
Mhm.
and knock that out now and then do that later. And so that's a good point.
And that's something that I like. We were talking about kind of like lessons that
Yeah.
I've learned, or times that I've had realized that I needed to change something or whatever.
Yeah.
For a while, I was like planning out. I thought I was planning out to be so productive, right? And it's like
Right.
it looked productive on paper. Like
Right.
I had every hour of the day accounted
Right.
for. I even had like, oh, here's my I'm gonna have lunch for 1 hour.
Right.
Oh, that's a great plan. That's a great idea. But you know, I had it all filled up. And yeah, it was like lunch or like another little break, but it just didn't work out. You need more of that white space than just an hour here in the middle of the day and like
Right.
another hour somewhere else. And
Right.
maybe your life or your business allows for that to be enough.
Yeah.
And, maybe people need a lot more white space in their day than I need.
Right.
It's so personal. But, I was like, man, I have this like plan to like get started with client work in the morning and then homeschool at this time and then da da da, and it just did not work out for me. It was just too strict, you know. It was almost like too accounted for. And then when
Right.
things didn't like go as planned or I didn't finish in the time allotted for, I felt bad because I was like, man, I can't even stick to this. And it just
Right.
this wasn't the right type of planning that I needed.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't flexible enough. I think sometimes moms, we
Right.
make rigid plans. And I was like, girl, your kid ain't got no
Yes.
rigid schedule right now. Like, what are you talking about? I'd be saying that to myself because the transition from 2 to 3, I
Uh,
wasn't ready for that. I was not
yeah,
ready for the transition to 2 to 3.
I'm
It's
there
hard.
right
Yeah,
now. And if you
it's
know, you know.
because I just
It's
didn't
like
think it would be like that. I don't
it's
know.
it's both like the best and also like most chaotic.
Right. I'm like, how? Because, like you said, I had a good routine with my 2. I even told myself, like, wow, 2 kids, I could do this. Like, I could
Mhm.
do this. And then I had my third baby, which I wasn't planning to have a third baby. But she showed up and I was like, okay. this threw everything I had out the window. And so I was like, I had to figure out again. Like you said, like there will be moments where you adjust, settle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what is going to be consistent for you while you're adjusting and
Yeah.
settling? Especially if you decide to have more kids. Because I know a lot of mom business owners, we usually stack our kids like boom, 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 which makes sense because we want to be done. I get why we do
Mine,
it.
literally, mine are all exactly 2 years apart. All three of them.
So did you plan it that way or did it just happen that way?
It just happened.
Okay, mine happened that way. Like literally, we would bring home a new baby, and the baby that was older would be turning 2 like a month later. We did
Oh yeah.
that 3.
No, that's exactly how it is here. It's within almost exactly 1 month. Like 1 month and
Yeah,
1 day, I think is like the,
yeah, that's what we was doing. I was
and
like, in a way,
like, yeah, the same, almost, yeah, within the same month, 2 years apart exactly. It just happened like that. I don't
it
know.
do. I just people like you planned that. I was like, absolutely not, because 2 of my kids' birthday are in November and one is in October. So everybody's birthday, when I tell you all of my family's birthday hit at the same time. My husband's, my mom's, my mother-in-law, my kids, and then the other kids, and then my sisters, and then Christmas, and then my birthday. It's too much. I'd be
It's
like,
too much. It's a lot at once.
right.
Yeah, mine is all my kids and my wedding anniversary within the same month.
You know what? You need a coffee. You need
I
a
do.
coffee. For real. That's crazy. But yeah, if you're like us and your kids are like back to back to back, then like life changed too much, especially since they're all doing that together at the same time. It's like
Mm-hmm.
1 minute you're probably training one, and then you probably train the next, and then you probably train.
Yep,
They
just
go to school like,
yep.
yeah, yeah. Especially if you're breastfeeding too, and you breastfed that long too,
The
because
good
that's
thing about that is I'll say that like I had like a year for my oldest to be in school before
mhm,
my middle started school. So it's like,
yeah,
okay, I could kind of figure this out before I add the other one.
yeah.
So that worked out.
What's something you wish every social media manager or VA would know about capacity before they start or having bigger goals?
For one thing, you need to know your capacity, like really, really know.
Yeah,
Because once you know that number, whether it's number of clients or hours or however you calculate it. I usually do
yeah,
hours, but that's just me. It makes it way easier to grow your business, scale sustainably, and create. It helps you grow it the way you want it for you at a team if you choose to have a team, or whether you keep it on your own. And another thing is that any time saved adds up. Like sometimes it
yeah,
can feel silly doing things to just shave a couple minutes off, but
yeah,
that can really add up, especially like we were talking before, if it's something repeated that you're doing for every client or something you do every day. Anytime you can take off of those small things, like it really adds up, and can help you expand your capacity more than you think. Um, and just making sure you have that white space before
right.
you go to taking on the bigger goals. Because if you try to go to the bigger things before you have that space, oftentimes like it can feel like a rude awakening
Yeah,
a little bit, like I bit off more than I can chew. Like, so having that space helps for kind of like settling into like maybe the growing pains that you may come along with it, and just getting things settled. So working that white space into your plan.
yeah. White space is so important. If you ain't hear nothing that Gia said, she said white space. So if you ain't got white space,
White space for capacity. Yes.
right. You need more white space. Gia can help you with white space.
Yes.
Literally, especially when it
Absolutely.
comes to marketing. Because that is literally the first thing to go
It
in
is.
business when you're focused on client work. That literally is the first thing to go because you're being a rock star for everybody else, but not ourselves. And Gia helps you be the rock star for
Oh,
yourself.
thank you.
You're welcome. But I love talking to Gia. I guess I need to put more time for my YouTube videos. I don't know why I thought we could do 30 minutes because I like to talk. So I don't even know.
And apparently I like to talk too. Like I was saying, you know, with my 10-minute voice note to myself, I was like, could I even talk long enough to make a video? Yep, apparently I can, because I can talk to myself for 10 minutes, no problem.
And you can be on YouTube too.
We're getting there. That's another one of those goals.
But no, I guess share how people could work with you if they want to connect with you, be a part of your space on the internet.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram and Threads at Gia Rose Digital, and my website is giarosedigital.com. And you can learn more about what I do there and the different types of services I offer and like the different types of support that I can bring for you in your business so that you get your business off the back burner and avoid burnout at the same time.
Right. Her website is beautiful, y'all. She just got it done. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
And she is amazing. So definitely hit up Gia. She is someone to have in your corner, even if you're like, I'm not ready to outsource yet or anything, she'll be right there ready for you. Because I know I will be. So definitely. I just love having her support as a business owner. I love having you on here.